All right. So for Brainstem in this period, we're moving on to kind of a total different subject relative to the brainstem. And that's going to be looking at some of the functions, circuitry, and structure relative to the eighth cranial nerve. Now, the eighth cranial nerve dealing with double function, the balance equilibrium, and also for auditory hearing functions. And it also will have some important role to play in one of the major reflex movements of the eyes. So that's going to be one of the important parts of our discussion dealing with the eighth cranial nerve. And this is just another one of those endpoint pieces of information that we want to complete the brainstem discussion with. Okay, now when you're dealing with the eighth nerve, and of course its multiple functions, it's obviously you're going to be dealing with the structure and the circuitry related to the ear structure. And we know all of the functions are based on this mechanism of ear. And you know the basic divisions of the ear, external, middle, and internal. And notice external and your middle ear, they are going to be air filled. And of course, that's obvious. The external ear is just the funnel, the channel that brings the sound vibrations down to the tympanic membrane. And then the membrane is going to be now oscillating, and its vibrations will set up motion within the middle ear, the very important and the very unique ossicles. And of course, in the middle ear, you have the three ossicles. You got your malleus, your incus, and your stapes. Those are neatly articulated bones. These are the smallest bones that we have. And what's so unique about the articulation between these three bones, they are synovial joints. So this is kind of amazing, that small of a bone having its synovial membrane, its synovial fluid. And so these are true synovial articulations. And these three bones are set up such that as they articulate with each other, they are amplifying the degree of vibration that you see in the tympanic membrane. And you remember the foot plate of the stapes is sitting in this oval window, which is that window, that doorway between middle ear and the inner ear. And physiology has told us that the amplification across the ossicles is somewhere around 20, 21 times. So the ossicles are increasing the amplitude of the tympanic membrane over to the foot plate of the oval window, again, 20, 21 times, so that as the foot plate is pushing back and forth at the oval window, is pushing into the fluid medium of the inner ear. And of course, we know the inner ear is unique because it is fluid filled. And the fluid fill in there, we'll mention that in just a few moments. So, and the inner ear, for the most part, you remember, is embedded in that solid part, petrous part of the temporal bone. And we'll come back to the inner ear in a few more details later. So again, just the basic structure of the ear is fairly straightforward, nothing too dramatically difficult there. Now, when you go to the inner ear, let's give it a little special attention. You have your notes there. Now, notice when you go into the inner ear, we want to change the environment. We're going from air filled to fluid filled. So you remember the inner ear is formed by two labyrinths, two compartments. Notice one is called membranous labyrinth and one is called the osseous labyrinth. And each of these two labyrinths, these compartments, are fluid filled. And so the mechanism, as we develop the sensory input of balance, equilibrium, and hearing, is based on the movement of these fluid media within the inner ear. Now, notice the inner ear has kind of a posterior compartment. That's where the vestibular, that's where the balance mechanism is. And it has an anterior component, which is the cochlea itself. And of course, that's oriented towards sound. So you have a vestibular and a cochlear components of that inner ear.